The silver screen is always a source of magic, eye-catchy. And whenever it can make such a difference in our tourism arena, this is going to be very, very nice. And in fact, we started that years ago. But what we can do to have more positive impact on the ground, and where the positive impacts already made by such wonderful movies like Gharam fil Karnak, for example, or An Affair in the Karnak Temple, or Arus al-Nil, or The Bride of the Nile, or what? Let's answer all these questions with my dear guest, Dr. Amira Hamid, our film critic. Thank you very much for being with us, Amira.
You're welcome, thank you.
And let's start with this general question. Do we have really an impact which can be made on the ground by using movies or our silver screen on our tourism arena?
Of course. Cinema has a great impact on tourism because when you open your land, your sites for shooting movies in historical sites, or using the great nature here in Egypt, in beaches and the sunny weather and something like so, it's a great propaganda for Egypt, for every tourist in this world to come and see the sites, like what happened in other movies shooted in Morocco, in other places that with less obstacles for shooting. People come, and you know that social media represent many of the shooting steps of the movies, so people may come and all over the world, I mean, and share these moments with the movie stars, and this all increase in national income, you know.
Sure, but I think, for example, that the movie I mentioned, An Affair in the Karnak Temple, I think it was the first attempts of having a video clip.
Yeah.
When we have a song like Hatshepsut by the great Muhammad al-Adawi and Luxor Baladna. Luxor is our country, our homeland.
Yes.
I think it's also another way to say to what extent it was enjoyable, even for those who were shooting there, and it can be aired all over the day and in inner circles, in hotels and restaurants and stuff like that, promoting for our monumental sites. If you agree with me on that.
Of course, I'm with you in this, and there is a beautiful story about this movie and about making their story, said by the great Mahmoud Reza.
Yeah,
after
the founder of Reda Troop.
He and
his brother
Ali Reza.
Yeah.
Okay. The troop was already dancing in the Karnak Temple before this movie was shooted, but he said. And the tourists were watching the Karnak Temple and watching the show, the performances of the troupe. But he said, I imagined if the pharaohs woke up from the death and watched us dancing in their holy temple, what they will see. He asked to do this in a theatrical show, but Ali Reza thought it would be more beautiful if it was a cinema.
Yeah.
So the movie was shooted in many beautiful places, the Karnak Temple, Deir al-Bahari, Hatshepsut Temple, and it was this great masterpiece we're remembering till now.
يا حياتي يا مولاتي يا حياتي يا مولاتي ردي يا فرخة على الكتكوت حتشبسوت يا حتشبسوت
ضرائب يا ابني سلامة عقلك
اعمل ايه ما انا معجب بيها وبتوحشني
ده بتهيألك
هس هس اسكتوا لا تصحوها
هس هس اسكتوا لا تصحوها
هس هس اسكتوا لا تصحوها ده نومها خفيف محتاجة سكوت هس هس اسكتوا لا تصحوها
يا ولاد حارتنا
توت توت
احنا في معبد
حتشبسوت
يا ولاد حارتنا
توت توت
احنا في معبد حتشبسوت.
Of course, I cannot skip speaking about the great late Shadi Abdel Salam. Shadi Abdel Salam was a multi-talented person.
Yes.
And he was all the time thinking, I think the sky was his ceiling. He was all the time very ambitious, thinking great, thinking big, if I may call it this way. And The Mummy was his only movie whom I can see just a glimpse of his talent. There are people who would say, oh, this is only a movie for festivals, a movie for the critics, not a movie for the people.
Yeah, okay.
If you agree with this or no, and if yes, to what extent such movies can be considered as icons or as pieces of art which cannot be repeated?
Actually, the experiment of The Mummy for Shadi Abdel Salam is not the only one, but we will talk about it first. Every scratch in this movie was handled by Shadi Abdel Salam himself. Every scene was drawn first by his hands, and then it was performed in nature. The clothes, the colors, which were only white, black and blue, were chosen by him. Even the moves of sand, the sun direction, every piece of this movie was directed by Shadi Abdel Salam.
Yeah.
Actually, it was released for audience in 1975, but it was a very great propaganda for Egypt. The story based on a true story about a troop living in Upper Egypt called El Horabat. That was in the actions occurred in 1871. The movie, this troop was selling the historical pieces of mummies. And then when the leader of this troop died, his two sons refused to consume their father's work. The bigger one, the older one, died, killed by his uncle, and the smallest one, the youngest one, the artist Ahmed Mar'i, could report
the selection of Ahmed Mar'i and Nadia Lutfi also, and to know that Nadia Lutfi did not utter a word, but her presence, her presence was amazing. Her looks, everything. Yeah.
Her looks, her makeup, everything. Nadia Lutfi is a movie star. What showed in this movie was only her presence.
Yes.
You know, she acted with only her facial expressions, her eyes. This movie is actually iconic, and you know, it was a mega propaganda for tourism here in Egypt, because every side and every praise talk by film critics for this movie by Shadi Abdel Salam in all magazines around the world concerned with cinema, Italian, French, English, and said in this movie there are means behind the words, and that's actually what a cinema is.
Yeah, amen to that. And by the way, before going to another question, since we are with Shadi Abdel Salam, as far as I know, and I think as we all know, that Shadi Abdel Salam was preparing for another big movie, Akhenaten, and I think Muhammad Subhi was the one who is going to portray this pharaoh or this old Egyptian king in front of the camera, and even they made the costume and they made the makeup and everything, and we do have even photos for Muhammad Subhi dressed as Akhenaten. Do you think that we should continue this project, or this was something only related to Shadi Abdel Salam, and only Abdel Salam was the one who can do it?
Actually,
who could do it, to be
such
accurate?
a controversial question, because you can't guarantee that the movie without its own makers would get the
its own maestro.
Yes, the maestro Shadi Abdel Salam. Actually, Shadi Abdel Salam was step by step with Yusuf Shaheen, but Yusuf Shaheen was much production. But Shadi Abdel Salam was little production, but it was a masterpiece. He put all his effort in keeping the heritage, our pharaonic heritage, and so he was master in this.
Yeah. Is it only about cinema, or also TV series or drama can do the same issue?
Actually, cinema is the language of photos, which actually goes with the type of shooting, pharaonic and archaeologists and antiques, and the sites really depend on shooting, and propaganda depends on shooting. But I think we don't have much TV series talked about tourism. It's little, and you can't, and it's, you know, TV series, we had Helm al-Ganubi.
Yeah.
by Salah al-Sadani. It was actually
May
one
God
of
bless
the
his
best.
soul. Yeah. Yeah.
Talked about the issue of stealing the monuments and steering our history,
Mm.
and the obstacles facing one who is a teacher of history.
Mm-hmm.
All his dream was to discover the tomb of Alexander the Great,
Mm.
and how the kings in the Upper Egypt,
Yeah.
from the same land which has to be the cables
Yeah.
of the circus.
Amira, with all my respect to all what you're saying, and of course I do believe that the silver screen has its own magic. But now with the social media, with the Facebook, with TikTok, with the Instagram, with stuff like that, I think also they can play another role. And to have very short documentaries like the one made by the great Sousan Bedr, for example, with her
Hameen.
facial features,
Yeah.
which really represent us as Egyptian.
Platform.
This is another side of the coin which I think we should benefit from, and we should use as a way to propagate for our beloved Egypt. How do you see this?
Okay, I think it has a big deal for propaganda, and here in Egypt for the youth to know who we are, and how were our ancestors, and how could we get benefits from them in morals at least. It's very great things. Yeah.
And this is something which we can use and can benefit from that easy. I mean, a very short clip, 2 or 3 minutes, can do something. True?
Of course, because now we tend to abbreviations. We like abbreviations. We tend to save time. Because the youth now wants a very abbreviative capsule to know what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity for all of them, and for us too, to know what's behind.
And you know, one of my dreams, for example, is to have documentaries or short video clips around our new museums. For example, the GEM, the Grand Egyptian Museum, when it is inaugurated.
We hope so, and you know, I hope that when it happened, it's by studying experiments, not only for amateurs, because we wanted to guarantee the content that it's presented to the youth. New era and a new trend, a new way of thinking. We have to cope with it in order to make this info reach them properly and trust it.
And Amira, one final question regarding our cinema and our I don't know if this is something which I should say or no. Is it the responsibility of our state or the responsibility of the mega cinematic companies to make sure that a movie like that can be done with the very expensive expenses? Because if I'm going to speak about a historical movie or a movie which is going to speak about real stories which took place thousands of years ago, this is going to cost millions and millions. Whose responsibility is that?
Actually, I can't
Or it should be co-shared?
I think it's shared, and not only when you talk about millions and about propaganda, we may get this by providing sites, just only the sites, and overcoming obstacles from mega worldwide productions. Actually, we lost many chances for worldwide movies. By the last one was in 2014 by Ridley Scott, The Gladiator 2. The authorities here asked for $15 million just to hire the sites. So it was a very great burden for the production. So they went to Morocco when they provided the sites for free. No, it was not the Gladiator 2 only, but it was the Gods of Egypt 2. This movie. But you know, the sites for free, but they doubled the pay doubled fees of accommodation for all the cast of the movie during the shooting time.
So it's a management issue.
It's management issue. So lately the government got this idea, and actually I knew recently we opened the arms for shooting films and overcoming obstacles, because it's millions of dollars that we could get for the national income through this.
And what about concerts? What do you, how do you see having concerts in just in front of the Karnak, for example,
Respectable concert.
or of course, or in the Giza Plateau, the Pyramids Plateau, or having sports tourism, like having, for example, the squash tournaments in the glass court in front of the Egyptian Museum of Civilization. How do you see these things?
All what you said was great ideas, were great ideas, but I want to say that it must be respectable. Go with the holy type of these places. I'm with film festivals too in Luxor, Aswan, Komombo, and all the other places that contain antique sites. Because the tourists or film critics, artists, movie stars, and the audience coming to see these movies would go to see them and watch and go to the antique sites. So you got both things.
Well, Amira, thank you very much for your input. Have a very good day.
Thank you.
Well, by this we come to the end of this interview with Amira Hamid, Dr. Amira Hamid, our film critic. Stay tuned. Right after this, I'm going to be back with more.